What's up, guys? Should be running now. Stream is live. Welcome. Thanks for joining, everyone. Another BingX live stream. We're doing these weekly now. About every other week, we'll do altcoin charts one week, and then we'll do like some educational stuff the next week. So, thanks for joining me. It looks like we got a decent amount of people in here. We're going to talk about head and shoulder patterns, inverse head and shoulder patterns, and how I've learned to trade them, and with higher success rate, I guess, because a lot of times you'll see a head and shoulder pattern and it's poorly drawn or it doesn't play out or whatever. So I want to show you guys how I found is the absolute best way to do it. Okay, some little tips and guidelines. But if you haven't tried BingX, make sure you guys check it out. Their fees are super cheap. That's why I use it so much. If you are new to trading, you can paper trade too. They'll load your account with VST. If it doesn't come automatically loaded with VST, just message their support team and they'll get you hooked up, okay? But that's a really cool way to learn the exchange, learn how leverage trading works. You can test strategies, things like that with fake currency. So there's no risk involved, no emotions, etc., etc. So that's really cool. If you need to sign up, there's a link below in the description. But let's get to it. I actually haven't even found any inverse head or any head and shoulder patterns today, so I'm gonna have to look through the charts to see if we can find one. But actually, before that, give me just 1 second here, you guys. I gotta update my other screen so I can see the chat here. Maybe. All right, I think I've got the chat pulled up now. I just wanna... Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys. I could see myself talking, and it was distracting. Okay, let's go. So, inverse head and shoulder, right? So you always have a neckline, and usually with a head and shoulders pattern, it's going to be a reversal. Well, a head and shoulders pattern is going to be a reversal pattern, you guys. So what a reversal pattern means is that price is going one way, you get a head and shoulders, and then price goes the other way because it's a reversal. Alternatively, you are going down, and then you make a head and shoulders, and then you go back up, and it becomes a reversal pattern, okay? Now, there are continuation patterns, right? So like a bull flag. You know what a bull flag is, or a bull pennant. Price goes up, it consolidates, it continues, it goes bullish. Oh, sorry, guys. I had some in my eye. Okay. I had like an eyelash in my eye. Okay, so you get that continuation, blah, blah, blah. All right, so this is a reversal pattern. That's the first thing you need to understand about head and shoulders patterns is they are reversals, okay? I can't say that enough times. Always important to understand a reversal pattern or a continuation pattern. Now, next, we have a head and shoulders, right? So usually you want it to be like a slanting neckline for a head and shoulders, up sloping, and for an inverse head and shoulders, you want it down sloping, okay? That's where I found better success rates, yada, yada. So what that's going to look like is you're going to go up, you're going to have a left shoulder, a head, a right shoulder, and you're going to go back down, all right? The opposite way is you're going to, let me move this over here. You're going to go down, have a left shoulder, a head, a right shoulder, and we're going to go back up. Simple as that, right? Very simple. Now, this is a neckline. This is what we call the neckline. You want to see a nice clean touch of a neckline, a nice trend line, okay? Not only that, I like these upsloping or downsloping because a lot of times you'll see people post like a head and shoulders like this. And that's not really a head and shoulders. I don't know. I don't like it like this because usually downsloping ends up being like a bull flag or a bull pennant, okay? So this usually ends up being more bullish than bearish when it's downsloping like this. So, like I said, upsloping, that usually becomes a rising pattern and it falls out of that and drops and then it's bearish, okay? So my biggest tip though, that I've learned, like, I don't remember where I heard this, but somebody that I highly respect or whatever had mentioned this in passing. And this is my biggest tip for head and shoulders, okay? So we're just going to draw this one flat for now. We'll do it just barely slanted, okay? So biggest tip is going to be the right shoulder is going to be between the head and the left shoulder. And what I mean by that is you have your left shoulder here, you have your head here, okay? So you want the right shoulder to be somewhere between here and here. Okay, I don't know why, but whatever reason, when the right shoulder is in between the head and the left shoulder, you have a higher success rate. Okay, they will more likely pay out. I don't know if it's because it sweeps this area or what, but more often than not, if it goes like this, the right shoulder, it's not as likely to play out. But if the right shoulder goes like this up into this space, then for whatever reason, it's more likely to play out. From my experience, I've learned that. So when you have a head and shoulders pattern, be watching for this right shoulder bigger than the left shoulder, and it's going to be more likely to play out. Now, inversely, it's going to be the same for the opposite, okay? So you have your left shoulder, your head, and your right shoulder. You want to be deeper, all right? Deeper than the left shoulder. For whatever reason, that is very much more likely to play out. Somebody asked about the volume. Yes, we'll talk about the volume in a few minutes as well, okay? But that's what you want to see, you guys. So right shoulder bigger than the left shoulder is the very first thing I look for if I'm trying to trade a head and shoulders pattern. Okay. Yeah, so that's my biggest tip there. Volume is important. So typically, most times, volume isn't like 110% the end-all be-all, but it is pretty important to note. So usually your volume in the left shoulder is going to be low, and then in the head, it's going to be pretty high because you're going to have a lot of people like panic selling the bottom, right? And then it's going to kind of die out a little bit. And then here, it could be lower or higher, but you want to see it kind of increasing as you get to here. As you get to that neckline, you want to see it increasing because you want to see increasing volume telling me that momentum is building and we're going to break out of this and then pop. Okay? So, whoops. So left shoulder, usually, if the left shoulder is the highest volume, that's not a good thing because that usually means that this was a breakdown and then this is just a retest. There's no volume, and then we usually go lower, okay? So you want to see more volume in the head and the right shoulder, no matter which direction it is, okay? So this way you want to see more volume in the head and the right shoulder as well. I don't have the exact science down on, some people say you want to see the most volume in the right shoulder. I don't have the exact science down on that because from my experience, sometimes the highest volume is up here because that's the top or the bottom, okay? Now, how do we trade head and shoulders, right? How do we trade these? So what you're going to do is you're going to, invert my scale. What you're going to do for these is you're going to have a target, okay? And your technical target is always going to be the distance from the bottom of the head to the neckline, all right? Make this blue. All right, so from here to here is going to be your target, and then wherever it breaks out, you're going to draw. You're going to move that there, and that's going to be the length of your breakout. So if it breaks out, you assume that it goes up to this level. All right, pretty simple. For trading purposes, your entry is going to be the breakout retest, right? So you get a breakout, you buy the retest, and you hope it goes further. Now, you want to see a high volume breakout. That's the first confirmation piece. A high volume breakout means that was a valid resistance. The market was like, oh yeah, we're going to break this on high volume. We want to go up, right? If it's a weak breakout, that means there really wasn't any resistance there, and it's probably just going to drop back down. Okay? So high volume is always the best for confirming a breakout. Now, for trading purposes, you're going to long that resist, or you're going to long at the retest. Oh, and I've got a short position here. Hold on. So you're going to long here. Why is it red? I'm inverted. Okay, hold on. I was so confused. Okay, so that's going to be your target. And then usually your stop loss is going to be below this shoulder to invalidate. Okay, so stop loss below that shoulder would actually invalidate it, but I usually use a tighter stop loss, and I usually put it maybe below this shoulder or like even closer if I really get a nice support hold reaction at that retest, okay? So technically it's going to look like this, and then hopefully your shoulder's a little bit shallower so you have a better risk to reward, or your head is a little bit deeper to give you that better risk to reward, okay? Because obviously everything's in risk to reward, and normally you want at least a 2-to-1 risk to reward, okay? Let's see. What does proof of price action mean? Yeah, thanks for joining, everyone. Appreciate you guys being here. But that's how you're going to trade that, is basically just like that. Your technical target's going to be here. Let's invert this down and see how it looks on a head and shoulders pattern, which are some of my favorite short patterns. Now, sometimes the neckline is flat, which is perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. So you'll have a flat neckline here, and then you'll do this. Left shoulder. Okay, remember we're on our right shoulder bigger. Bam, bam, bam. I'm perfectly okay with this. This just ends up usually being like a rounded top at that point. Okay, and then it's a rounded top and we go lower. Sometimes it's even like kind of a diamond top looking thing. So that's how that looks. And then just for visual sake, this is how it looks here. Flat is totally fine. Again, I don't like it slanted up though, like this. I don't like it slanted up though like this, or slanted down like this. Okay, I don't like that. I won't trade that. Whoops. Okay, just so you guys know. So maybe we could go see if we can find a couple, huh? Let's see here. Actually, so there was one on the Snapchat chart. We'll just go to that one quick, because I remember there was like a 1-hour one. Okay, and the best head and shoulders are the ones that are head and shoulders on the head, and then they turn into a bigger head and shoulders on the actual larger scheme of things. So what I mean by that is you get a little head and shoulders here, okay, and we'll review it a little bit closer in a second, and then you get a bigger head and shoulders here. See how this is a big one? So those are like the best ones, because you get the initial one here, turns into a big one, and you get that one too. So let's zoom in a little bit. Can we use fib retracements on lower time frames? I use fibs on lower time frames only with Top Goon X, which is my indicator. Otherwise, no, I don't use Fibonacci on lower time frames for anything else. You can, I'm sure there's strategies. You just have to be aware that your strategies on your 4-hour chart or whatever might not be the same as your strategies on a 5-minute chart. Okay. All right. So let's see here. So we have this inverse head and shoulders here, right? It's really picture perfect. Hold on one second. Sorry, I actually have a snapshot that I just wanted to close some of, since it's dropping here. I see, since I'm on live stream, I don't like to be trading while I'm on live stream, but I had this trade open from a few minutes before, so, well, anyway. All right, but I digress. All right, so let's get back to this. I'm just going to close that fully so I don't have to worry about it. All right, one second. There we go. It's just a little scalpy scalp. Oh, wait, shit. I think I actually accidentally shorted more instead of closing more, and now it's dropping, so I'm making more money, I guess. That's hilarious. 1 second, you guys. I apologize. Brief intermission. Please don't bounce, because I just accidentally doubled my short instead of closed my short. So, we're dropping. Making money now. We're in profit. I'm closing now. I don't want to risk that. Okay. That's hilarious. All right. Cool. All right, 3 cents. I shorted 3 cents, or I shorted 3 cents down, double size. All right, I closed out my short. That's funny. Anyway, we're prime trading hours for me right now, you guys. So here we go. All right, so we are going to look at this inverse head and shoulders. Picture perfect. Look at this. Left shoulder, right shoulder, head. Look at how the right shoulder is in between the left shoulder and the head. We're going to draw a neckline here. So this would be a long. Somebody asked if I would look to short the first head and shoulders. Technically, you'd look to long this, because this is inverse head and shoulders. So you see you've got your left shoulder, bam, your right shoulder, or your head, sorry, and then your right shoulder. And your right shoulder is in between your left shoulder and the base of your head. Right in the middle. That's great. So look at how our head here has the highest volume. Okay? See that? Highest volume in the head, which is totally fine. And then look at this nice increasing volume here in the right shoulder. The right shoulder stops right here. And then it breaks out. It actually gapped up. But you see how this is nice increasing volume on the right shoulder? Bam! That is a perfect example. Picture perfect example. Very pretty. Okay? We love that. That's what we like to see. So now what about the target, right? So we zoom in, we zoom in, we zoom in, zoom, zoom, zoom. Oh, I should have kept my short open. Remember you guys that video? Did you guys see that video I made? No, I closed it too early. Oh, FOMO back in. Okay. So anyway, so we go from head, bottom of the head. I don't usually use wicks for my target because, I don't know. You can use wicks if you want, but I don't think it always goes to the wick target, and I'm a little bit more conservative. Okay, so we go from neckline to the head. I usually try to do like a perpendicular line too. I don't know why. I guess I could do this. But mostly because if I do a perpendicular, then it pulls it forward here, I guess. So anyway, so this is your target. You hold it up here to breakout. And bam, look at that. We actually like hit it picture perfect. See here. This is the target. Bam. Hit it perfectly. That's where you would close, and then you could see it retraced after. So that's a really nice head and shoulders pattern. Perfect breakout. And then you zoom out and you go, oh boy, we have another one. Now, is this one going to work out? I don't know. Since it didn't retest the neck, would you have missed this trade? Potentially, yes. You know, it didn't technically retest because it gapped up. But if you know you're feeling good about it, maybe you get in here. Yeah, maybe you get in on this retest here. You go to lower time frames, right? It's kind of tough with these gaps. And sometimes you just, you know, you're not going to buy here. You're always going to wait for that breakout at that point. But sometimes you can get in on these spots if you have high confidence or whatever. But yeah, technically, we would admit you would miss this if you're playing it by the book, okay? Since it didn't never actually retest that area. But it went close, and you could see this would be like the next support after that gap up. And so it hit this support level. So maybe you'd get in. I mean, your risk to reward is still going to be good here if you get in down here. And, you know, you're definitely going to want to tighten your stop. But I could get a 6% reward with probably, you know, 3% risk. So that's pretty good. That's 2-to-1. So I could live with that, especially because this is a really high volume candle. So you wouldn't want to see it go below that. Or, you know, maybe after this hold, this is a very bullish candle. You just go, all right, I'm going to get on this dip, hope that it holds this low, and hope that it hits this high, and I've still got a 2-to-1 trade opportunity, right? So it's still not a terrible opportunity. All right. Let's see here. So then we go here, and we have another head and shoulders, right? So we've got the left shoulder here. We've got the head here. And the right shoulder here. Pretty nice. Now, how's volume look? Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. All right, let me get the neckline back. And I almost think this is just a straight neckline. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay. So, target would technically be, bam, way up here at 37. So you've got a great risk to reward here. Do I like this? I don't know if I trust this right now. We've got declining volume. We do have some high volume breakout. So this would be max risk to reward here, which is kind of why I closed my short, although I could have caught a little extra profit, but that's okay. But here's your risk to reward. You've got a 5% risk and a 15% reward. So that's great. We like that. Is this a valid head and shoulders? Let's see. So all the volumes in the head, no volume in the left shoulder. And then the right shoulder, a little bit of volume, a little extra volume, and even like going towards the right shoulder. So, I mean, this looks halfway decent. I would definitely say if you're playing this by the book and you've got good risk to reward management, you know, and you don't go too heavy, that you could consider playing something like this. And then I usually go to higher time frames to like try to confirm it and see how things look, right? So I'm not going to get into all that, but usually I go to different time frames to see how things are looking. But you know, I don't like how this is like a hanging man type deal. That's kind of my biggest concern. But by the book, this is a clean head and shoulders. Like I said, some of the best head and shoulders or inverse head and shoulders are when you get one of them making up the head, and then the other one, a full pattern makes up the head of a larger pattern. Bam! I got it. I said it. Yeah, so somebody said it looks like it's retesting perfectly right now. Yeah, I would agree. It looks like a perfect retest. I can maybe even like slant this a little bit to get, I don't know. But it looks pretty good. Like I said, risk to reward here is great. So it's not a bad opportunity by any means, right? And this is actually a low volume drop too, which is usually also good. So yeah, but that's why I closed my short up around here, because obviously we're approaching support. I don't want to be holding that short because there's a high chance that it rebounds, even if it rebounds back to like $33, right? So that's a inverse head and shoulders. Let's see, how much do I consider MA as resistance here? I mean, my MAs are always resistant, so yeah, that could be a fake out above and we go lower, which is kind of why I shorted on the low time frames. Just because I saw, kind of a low time frame fake out on like the 3-minute chart, I think. So again, it was also like if your trades are on short time frames, you're not going to hold them very long. If I short on a 1 or a 5-minute chart, I'm going to maybe hold it 30 minutes. On a 1-minute chart, I'm probably holding for 10 or 15 minutes tops, maybe even like 5 to 10 minutes tops. On like a 5-minute chart, I'm probably holding for like 30 minutes at the absolute longest. So always understand your time frames. I don't like using head and shoulders on like 1-minute charts. Okay. And if you're new to trading, you really shouldn't be using low time frames like that anyway. What was I going to say? So somebody asked about my stop loss here. So if you use a stop loss, you just put it below the right shoulder technically, okay? Now for me, I'd probably go below this candle because it's a big, nice candle. I mean, it's a big, strong candle. So I'd probably go below the base of that or even like the base of here. Again, I like tight stop losses. So I'm always going to be a little bit tighter and hope I don't get stopped out. And if I do, then I move on. But I'm usually pretty patient and kind of wait for those primo entries. And, over time, I've gotten used to, well, this is the technical invalidation, but if we go below this candle, then we probably just go below here anyway, things like that. Okay. So yeah, so that's a really clean look on there. So somebody asked about like fake head and shoulders and stuff. I do have one on my Twitter. Let me look for it quick. Hold on. Okay. So I have a really good example, an old Twitter post. I want to see if I can find it, if it'll load. It's actually like not loading the search. Okay, there we go. Nebraskan Gooner. And, if you type in somebody's name on Twitter, and then you type in keywords, you can find tweets from them. So let me see. I found it. Okay. I don't know how I found that so quick. Oh, look. Snap is trying to bounce. Okay. How about we go here? Okay. We have everything's spazzing out now. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Hopefully I didn't have any crazy DMs in there, you guys. All right. So, look at this. Inverse head and shoulder. I remember back when this was happening and everyone was so bullish, and I remember just being like, no, like this is not, oh man, people hated me so much for saying that this was a fake out. But that's it. So we've got our left shoulder, okay? We've got our right shoulder, which is in between the left shoulder and the head, if you don't include wicks, okay? And you've got your head here. Highest volume's in the head, that's fine. Look at where the highest volume is here though. Maybe the left shoulder and the head, and no volume at all on the right shoulder. Absolutely none. No volume breakout, none. And then so this is immediately invalidated when you close below here. So as soon as you close below here, this candle, it's invalidated. You can see you actually back test for the retest, and that would have made a good short opportunity on invalidation. And some of the best traders I know say that some of my best trades are on invalidated trades. So meaning this invalidates the head and shoulders, so then you know that you're going to go harsh in the other direction because it was a fake out, right? So that's a very good example of when they don't work out. Also, you guys, I didn't talk about it. I don't really trade them, but there is like complex head and shoulders patterns, which I don't trade. We're not going to get too much into them, but just so you know. So we'll do inverse head and shoulder here. So you've got a left shoulder, a head, a right shoulder, and it's kind of like a double. Whoops. I want to make it bigger. I don't even ever trade these. But you get like something like this. And then it breaks out and then goes. And what that happens is this just ends up being like an ascending channel or like a bullish channel. I don't know. I don't ever trade them, but you get like a little extra. You get like 2 right shoulders basically. So those are called complex head and shoulder patterns or inverse head and shoulder patterns or whatever. What time frame was that? That was on the daily time frame, I'm pretty sure. That one I just showed you on Twitter. Let me double check here. Okay, that was on the daily. Yep, that was on the daily chart back in February of 2018. February 2018 daily chart. For those that are curious and want to go check it out. But yeah, you guys, I mean, that's really the gist of it. We could try to find some examples real quick if we see anything going on here. Let's just see. Nothing jumps out at me immediately. Nope. Here's kind of one. Let's see. This is on a 1 hour chart. So here looks like a head and shoulders, but we don't have a larger. Let's go to the 30-minute chart. Ah, shoot. I'm going to lose it, of course. Oh, wait. Is it over here? Dang it. I think I lost it. I should have marked it. Fail by the goon. Dang it. Let's go back to 1 hour chart, see if I can find it again. I have no idea where we're at. I hate when I change time frames. I think if I hit like control or something, then it'll... I don't even know. Why does this look so weird now? Okay, this is where I am here. You are here. Okay, let's see. I don't even remember how far I went back to find that. That is the problem. Okay, let's see. Where are you? Where are you? Where the hell did the price go? Oh, that was a dump. Dang. I feel like this chart got all messed up now. God, this is a boring chart. Look at all this sideways, you guys. You know what? I have no idea where I just found that at. That's a bummer. If you use the replay function, changing time frame. I think if you do, if you hit control, it keeps you where you're at. There we go. See that? Nope. Guess not. I don't know. There's some way to do it. Pretty sure. Well, I don't see anything here. I did for a half a second for a split whammy. We'll see if we can find any taco waffle patterns here. Let's see. I think it was here. I want to say this was where it was at. So this is kind of a head and shoulders, right? The structure is kind of. See how the left shoulder is bigger than the right shoulder. So I don't know if I would have traded this. No retest. Here's your target. So this one wouldn't have played out, as you can see. And look, so you've got your left shoulder here, your head here, right shoulder here. A nice volume breakout, actually. So, if you caught a retest down here, you would have maybe made a few bucks if you closed in time. But really, there's highest volumes in the head, but there's not really any volume in the right shoulder. You see how it's kind of declining? There's not much volume here, and it does break out. Definitely doesn't run to target. And also notice that the right shoulder doesn't go lower than the left shoulder and higher than the head. So I wouldn't have played that, right? Now, also, you guys, a head and shoulders is invalidated if your right shoulder goes below the head. Okay, just remember that. So it needs to be smaller than the head. At what conditions do you go for partial entries? Yeah, if you feel like it's going to go up and you feel like this is maybe viable, but it doesn't meet all of your conditions, then maybe you do like half entry or a 25% entry or something just for a little skin in the game. But if you don't have all your confirmations, you don't want to go heavy, all right? Let's see. Again, we have kind of another one here, but again, the right shoulder doesn't go. Okay, so we see a left shoulder here. I can zoom in on this a lot for you guys. So you can see the left shoulder here, head, and a right shoulder. But the right shoulder is still, and it does go below, but it's a wick. I don't count wicks in these. Well, maybe that would invalidate it anyway. But you see the left shoulder and the right shoulder. The right shoulder is not below the left shoulder, and it doesn't work out. Plus, there's no volume here either. So that one wouldn't have worked out. It'd be cool if we could find like a really clean head and shoulder too. But I just don't think we're going to. Holy crap. That was awful. Imagine that. Dang. That's terrible. When was this? February 4th. Oh, God. That is terrible. Wow. That might be the tightest price action. That might even be tighter than the price action we just had. Do we have any more head and shoulders on the Bitcoin chart? Is this one? This might be a little stretch, but maybe if we went to the 15-minute chart, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to lose it. But so you got your left shoulder here, got your head here, and your right shoulder here, and then you retest, which is nutso. But if you wait for closes, I always wait for closes on my retests. So you got the left shoulder here, head has the most volume. Right shoulder is increasing volume, kind of. It's got a high volume breakdown. This would be your target, which actually hits pretty quick. You can actually see, you would just trade this retest. That is actually kind of clean. What you would do is you would trade this retest right here when it starts rejecting, and you would close down here, and then it just wicked the hell out of everyone. So that one actually would have been a decent trade. Somebody asked, why do we consider wicks? I only use candle bodies. I only rely on candle closes. All of my strategies rely on candle closes, not wicks. Some people use wicks. That's fine. I do not. It's not in any of my strategies. So, everyone finds success in different ways. So I can't say wicks are bad, but I also just don't ever use them. All right, this one could have been a lower time frame head and shoulders. Whoops. I ruined it. Fail. All right, well, does anyone have any questions? I feel like that's pretty good, right? I mean, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Don't try to force these things. Keep it simple. Use all your confirmations, yada, yada. It's pretty simple if you just keep it simple. If you don't, try to force trend lines onto things and try to make up things that aren't there. But also using the shoulder in between the left shoulder and the right shoulder, in between the left shoulder and the head as like a confirmation piece has been really helpful for me. What is ATR? Do I use Binance search? So the reason I use Binance only for when I chart is because it has more volume. My strategies rely on volume and momentum, and Binance has the most volume on almost all the pairings. So that's why I use Binance charts, because my on-balance volume and Top Gun X are my main indicators, which both rely on strong volume. Am I betting on March Madness today? Nah, probably not. More of these types, how to play pattern strategy videos. Yeah, I'll do more of these. I already have some on my series. I think we did one a couple weeks ago. I don't remember what pattern we talked about, but we did one a couple weeks ago about a different, RSI strategies. 2 weeks ago, we did RSI strategies or like RSI trading strategies. So feel free to go check that one out as well. What was the first strategy I used starting out? Probably head and shoulders or like bull flat. It was probably bull pennants, honestly. Those are pretty easy. Bull or bear pennants, I guess. I think I pretty much started in 2018 bear market, so it's probably a lot of bear pennants and bear flags. But yeah, it's just the most important thing is to actually learn how they work, how to measure the targets, how they invalidate, things like that, because the worst thing you could do is enter a bad trade that's not, a bad head and shoulders that doesn't have all the criteria met, and then you keep holding as it's like taking off. Yeah, of course, you guys. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate everyone joining me. Plenty more videos to come. I have a podcast with Mr. Anderson or True Crypto 28 coming out soon, within the next week probably. So I have a lot more content for you guys. So I appreciate you guys all following me. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube, please do that as well. But always feel free to ask questions on Twitter. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace.